everyone.
Hello.
I'm Pamela.
And I'm Tasha.
And we're walking
in our best quality of life.
So today, everyone, we wanted to come to you to talk about a very interesting topic that is very personal for the both of us. Mm-hmm. And the name of our topic today is co-parenting through divorce. So I want to first start saying, Tasha, I want to ask you for your experience on this topic, co-parenting during a divorce.
Well, for me, from my personal experience, when I was going through the divorce, it was very important for me to always speak, to never speak negatively about my children's father in front of them. They were young and impressionable, and I didn't want to leave that negative impression of their father in their mind.
Yes, and I also remember when me and my ex-husband were first getting divorced, we wanted to make sure we kept the children in mind first and foremost, because we were both products of the divorce. He was as well. Mm-hmm. So we always said we want to make sure that our children don't have to go through what we did, because let's be real, we know as well as his parents that it was not a good process.
No, it was very stressful. Very stressful. And I remember so much of that whole thing that I just can't forget. It's ingrained in me.
So we figured we'll start with a few pointers, and maybe this would be a help to you or some people that you know, okay? So first of all, I already kind of said it, make sure that you are keeping the children in mind when you're going through this. Try to remove your own self out of it. Don't think about, oh, he did this to me or she did that to me.
Right.
I can't stand her. So everything you do is now based on a vendetta or getting even with her. Think about your children.
Exactly, because your children are watching everything that you do, everything that you say, and they're going to grow up to realize, my mom, she said a lot of bad things about my dad, and you don't want that to be in your mind, in your children's mind.
Exactly.
They're very impressionable.
Exactly. The next thing I want to point out is stick to the facts in this process. And what I mean by that is what needs to take place. What is the business at hand that needs to get done? Do we need to consider child support, child visitation, custody? What is that going to look like? Right. And what is going to, again, be in the best interest of the child?
Right.
So that is so important, because this is we already know that this is in a very emotional process anyway. So it's going to be best for you to make sure your emotions are intact. This may be important for you to seek individual counseling and maybe even family counseling to help you get your emotions in check.
Yes. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure that, if you are going through this process, let your children spend equal time. Let your children spend time with their dad or their mom or whatever. They have to, that's still their parent.
Yes.
And they're going to resent you, believe it or not.
If you keep them from them.
They may not when they're really small, but when they get older, they will start to resent you.
They will.
So let them see their dad. That's still their dad. They're still their mom.
Yes, because divorce is really like a mourning process. It's a grieving of the dream of what you thought was going to be in your relationship. Your family unit is no longer going to be.
Exactly.
So it's so important for you to remember that. So if you're having a hard time getting through it, how do you think the kids are feeling right now in this process? They're torn up and they don't have the cognitive abilities that we have as adults.
Right. So they can't process it. Right.
Exactly. They can't process it on their own. So keep that in mind. The next thing, and this goes back to what kind of piggyback off what Natasha was saying earlier, is don't tell your children every single detail of the divorce process. Do you know your father didn't, he don't want to pay me child support for
your child is not your best friend. I know that you love them, but you are the parent. Your child is still a child. Let them stay in a child's place. They don't need to know all that.
They don't need to know. That's pressure on a child. Then they start, of course, a kid's natural thoughts are, did I do something wrong? Am I the one that's causing this breakup?
They're going to blame themselves.
Now daddy don't want to pay child support. And because of me, it's my fault.
Right.
We don't want our babies doing that. You want to give your child some emotional issues and problems or some PTSD? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So the next one is keep conversations to a minimum if you know you and your soon-to-be ex are not liking one another.
Yeah.
Keep your conversations to a
Yeah.
minimum and consider using another form of communication.
Right.
Tasha, what may be some different forms of communication?
Okay, well, the first thing, I had to go through this mediation process, and that was very helpful. It really was. And then I had to also, instead, I had to think of ways where I didn't have to communicate with him in the beginning as much. Now, granted, today we're really good friends, but back then, when it first started out, we could not talk because it would be a screaming match, like every single time. So I learned that, you know, I didn't have to go to him. You know, I could go around, if that makes any sense.
Yes, and I want to add to that, sometimes you may even have to text or email each other.
Right.
And there are even some apps on your phone that really, if you look up anything that says co-parenting on your apps and stuff, on your smartphone or your iPhone, you can find apps that are helpful in communicating and will alert you if you are miscommunicating or using aggressive language. It will correct it for you so that you know that you are giving the clearest, best communication with your soon-to-be ex.
Exactly. Where was all this stuff at when I was going through mine?
I know. We didn't have it. And I thank God that we were able to also go through mediation, and we also kept in mind the children, because we're able to get through a lot of this without needing that technology. But we know a lot of other people, and we know these people, and we know that some of you out there are like this too, that it is not that amicable. It's not, you know, it's a lot of bad things that maybe your significant other did, extramarital affairs,
maybe you did,
drug abuse, who knows, and you're very, very hurt about it, and you and understandably so. You should be able to have emotions, because we're human. We all have emotions, but you have to get those emotions in check. They cannot supersede or cloud your judgment when you're going through this process, especially when there are children involved, because your children don't deserve that, and they didn't ask for it. They didn't ask to be here. Okay. So one of the other things that we want to say is also, with what you say, watch your body language during situations where you cannot avoid each other. For an example, your kids are probably still going through school and having different events at school, parent-teacher conferences, different award ceremonies. You can't show up, you know, and be all standoffish, you know, with your arms folded, your mouth pressed shut, or you know, or refusing to say hello in front of everyone to your spouse.
You definitely can't be petty, especially in public, especially around your children. You shouldn't act like that. You have to, you know, you still have to hold it together. You have to you know, understand that when you go into public, when you around your children, you have to know that there's a type of standard that you need to uphold. You know, you can't. I mean, I don't really know the word to say for it, but you just have to be. You have to be civil as you can. You can't go in there with an attitude, because things can get ugly very, very quickly.
They can. I mean, think about it from this perspective. If your boss made you angry at work, right, and you had to sit in that meeting with him,
are you going to cuss him out? I don't think so.
Are you going to be rolling your eyes or sucking your teeth or refusing to be somewhere on time? You're absolutely not, because your livelihood depends on it.
And you're wrong if you do that.
Exactly. And you may not have a job for long. So think about it from that perspective as well. And as we get ready to wrap this up, one other key thing that I want to mention is, remember, when you're going through a divorce process, I know you've already established relationships with other person's family members and friends. Remember, those relatives and friends are still relatives and maybe friends to your own children. So please don't try to put your kids in the middle and make them choose sides, or keep the other relative from your child. Those people, your kids had their own individual relationships with them too. So don't make them suffer because you mad at your wife's mom, or your wife is mad at your brother or sister.
So you can't see Johnny because I don't like you.
Exactly.
That's not fair.
Yes,
that's not fair to the child. The child should, you know, just be a neutral part of this thing, like a neutral part.
Exactly.
Seriously, you can't. The child shouldn't even really, to me, shouldn't even realize all that is going on. They should still feel like they're in a family, even though they're not like living with their father. It should still be, you know, they should feel love. Everywhere, all around them.
Everyone should feel love, and remember, you know, this is a difficult process for all parties involved. Your friends and family, hey, You know, if it is, you know, your wife's sister, you know, your wife's sister is emotionally connected to her sister. Of course she's going to be protective of her sister and going to have some feelings and maybe some choice words to say about the situation. It doesn't make her a bad person. It's just that she is expressing herself, but she still loves her nephew or her niece.
Right.
So you don't want to keep, you know, you don't want to, you know, cause a family war, you know, behind a divorce.
Exactly.
And let your family and your relatives know, guess what? This is what is happening. We understand that you're going to have some issues, but guess what? You don't get to speak negatively to our child about the other parent.
Exactly.
You don't get to do that, because our kids, what will forever be is that will forever be the mother and forever be the father of that child.
Exactly.
So please remember that. Because they will resent you later on in life, like Natasha said earlier, and that's not pretty. I see it all the time, people. It's not pretty. So please make sure you get your emotions in check. And please, as we're wrapping this up, we just wanted to share that with you because it is important. We're both children of divorce homes. So please check out our videos and subscribe to us.
Yes.
And
visit us at queenshipwomen@gmail.com. If you have any type of video request that you have in mind, just hit us up. We'll make that happen.
yes, so until next time, look out for our next videos, and we'll be coming back to you shortly.
All right.
Bye.